So I was living in Provo, and I was really poor. So and I would go on dates with people, and had a guy that I was kind of seeing at the time, and we'd go walk in the summertime to different restaurants, and I noticed that like I remember the first time it happened, like my leg kind of wobbled, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm not eating enough or something because I was so poor. But no, it wasn't that. He kept trying to get me to take blood tests because I had my mission call. He kept trying to get me to take some blood tests to see what was wrong because it kept happening. My legs would wobble and then they'd collapse, and it kept happening more and more often. And I was like, no, I don't want. I just didn't want anything to interfere with the mission because I already had a guy, so that's interference enough. And then I was in the MTC, and like it got so bad that like they gave me crutches because I couldn't even walk at all without my legs collapsing every single step. And so they sent me home because I couldn't walk. And well, actually, when I was in the MTC, I saw the doctor there, and he was worried that I had like a tumor or something on my spine that was interfering with like the electrical signals or whatever. And so he ordered an MRI. So I had MRI done. Nothing was wrong with my spine, no tumor. And so then at that point, and then they did blood tests in there. I think they had like 4 different vials. And at that point, when they didn't find anything in the blood test, didn't find anything in the MRI, they sent me home. Then at home, they did tons more blood tests. Like one time I had like, I think it was 9. They filled up 9 vials of blood from my arm here. Oh gosh. And they checked like my mineral level. They checked the vitamins. They checked for Lyme disease, and they checked for all this other stuff that. And I was perfectly healthy. I did have a vitamin D deficiency, but other than that, I was like perfectly healthy. So they're just like, what the heck? And then I think it was a family friend or a friend in our ward was talking about how my mom has narcolepsy, and he was like, oh, isn't there like a thing that goes along with narcolepsy that's like makes your legs collapse, like called cataplexy? My mom and I are like, what? I've never heard of that, because she has narcolepsy and she'd never seen her legs collapse. And so then I researched it, and by that point, like I was heading off to school in Rexburg, and so I didn't have time to do any more tests before school started, and I was like, I'm done being home. So I'm just gonna go. And at that point, it was really just kind of like, I kept a log. I kept a monthly log of how many times my legs clapped. Like, oh, after this emotional moment, my legs collapsed 1 out of 3 steps, or after I got in an argument with my mom, it was 1 out of 10 steps, or after I saw my ex-boyfriend, that kind of stuff. And I noticed, I saw a pattern that like the more emotional I was, the more my legs collapsed. And so that was, that like provided some sort of evidence for the doctors. And then like, I don't know, it's hard because the doctors, when I go in to see the doctors, like I walked in here just fine. When I go in to see the doctors, I walk in just fine because nothing's going on. I don't have any emotional connection to the doctor. So it's hard to like show them that I have it. It was all just kind of like my word versus their opinion. But finally I got approved to do a sleep study because for a while I told them, I was like, I think I have cataplexy. And they're like, no, you can't have cataplexy if you don't have narcolepsy, because I wasn't showing narcolepsy symptoms. So finally I was able to get my insurance in to let me do an overnight sleep study up in Washington State. And so they kept me in the room for 24 hours and slept for 8 hours, wake up for 2 hours, sleep for half an hour, wake up for 2 hours, sleep for half an hour. And that went on like 4 or 5 times, so like 5 naps throughout that entire day. And then they're like, yeah, you have narcolepsy. So I was like, okay, well, that means I have cataplexy too. So then they diagnosed me. But it's not something that you can just like there's no like specific test, like blood test. No, blood test isn't going to tell you that you have cataplexy. It's all very, very subjective. And like, even though I think technically it's like, oh, because we couldn't find anything else, I guess we're labeling you with cataplexy and narcolepsy. It's very much like process of elimination sort of diagnosis. So I've never met another person with my condition. My mom has narcolepsy. I've had people say, oh, I think my cousin has what you have. And I'm just like, okay, sure. Probably not, but sure, But yeah, so I've never met anybody with my condition, so I can't say. And like I said, like I look online for like support forums and support groups, and there's like 2 websites. It's ridiculous. Not literally 2, but it's not a very common thing. So there is a woman, her name is Julie Fly something. I think her name's Julie Fly something. And she is a narcolepsy advocate. She's a blogger. And she talks about having narcolepsy and cataplexy. But like, other than her, there isn't really an awareness. There isn't really, and it's not life-threatening, so it's not like I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys need to know about this. I'm just kind of like, oh, well, it'd be nice to not have people think I'm drunk when my boyfriend has to throw me over his shoulder to get out. Yeah, so, yeah. But Julie Flygare, yeah, she's cool. She's trying to raise awareness and stuff, but other than that, not really, no.